would be perfect for our sales meeting that we have every year. It would be perfect. And over years, it's just never worked itself out. So some people don't have follow-through DNA. So when you meet people and you listen to what they have to say, and you suddenly think, God, they should know Mary. The trick is to go and connect them with Mary. So it's really more, networking's more about giving than it is about receiving, but if you do a good job of giving, the opportunities are going to come at you left and right. So what we want to do today is give you the opportunity to meet 5 or 6 people who are in this room who you haven't met before, and have conversations where you can get to know a little bit about them, find out a little bit about their purpose. We can pass out these little cards, and of course, everybody put their bags away so nobody has a pen. That was my genius. So go ahead and get your pens. So the number one way to maximize your networking, the number one way to maximize what you can achieve is you have to know your own purpose of why you're here today. So we're passing out the little yellow cards and asking you to just take a minute. You can go around to the different tables so you can write down. And just write down, what do you want to accomplish? Why did you come to PowerPoint? ProductCamp. Why did you come to ProductCamp? Some of you came maybe to find a new job. Some of you came to learn some information. Some of you might have come just to expand your network. Sit down, take a chair.
Thanks, Brian.
Take a minute and just write down what is your own purpose for being here. One thing, if you could go home this afternoon and tell your husband or wife, boyfriend or girlfriend, or your cat, what it was that really was accomplished today, what would that be? Take a minute to do that. No. Flowers, and then later they take them each separately into a room and say, what did you think? The person who talked the most says, oh, I loved them, I hope we get married and have 5 kids. The person who talked the least often says, wow, I didn't like them quite as much. So you don't want to be the person who dominates the whole conversation. Now when we do these exercises, it's hard because tell me about you. No, tell me about you. You need to be able to clearly and concisely talk about yourself, but at the same time, you need to get information out of them. And if you're only going to have 3 minutes before we say switch, then you run into the situation that if you're just going into depth about, your mother, your sister, your years in college, that first breakup that you ever had, whatever it is, the other person's never going to get a chance to share. When we sell switch, they're going to say, well, gee, thanks, man. So you want to make sure that you're having a two-way conversation. But ask people, where do they work? Are they in product management? Are they in product marketing? Are they just here because they want to get to know more about the community? And then ask them, what's your purpose? Another great challenge to ask, another great question to ask people is, what's your greatest challenge this year? And that gets people to open up. So if you ask, and you can ask other questions too. If you memorize, instead of memorizing an elevator pitch where you flick a switch and just tell people about yourself, if you memorize some questions that get other people to open up, you're going to have a much better chance of building actual relationships. So like I said, we're going to give you a chance to meet people you haven't met before. You can do it in groups of 2 or groups of 3. 3 is a little tougher though, so try to find groups of 2, but if we end up with an odd number, you can find that one person. And then we're going to yell switch, or do we have a chime?
I can come up with a chime.
We're going to yell switch. And
it's an unconference.
It's an unconference. I'm going to hop on one foot. No. And we're going to say switch, and you go and find somebody else. And the most interesting thing that's going to happen is these people that you have these short conversations with, they're going to show up everywhere. Not just the rest of the day, although they will. You'll be going through the food line, getting your sandwich, you'll be looking for a table, there'll be an empty chair, and you'll be like, Janet, there she is. And you'll sit down because you've already met them. It's so much comfortable once you've had a short conversation with somebody to then talk to them at the happy hour or at a meal or when you go into a session, because you've already broken down those barriers. So what's happened is once you've talked to somebody just for 2 minutes, you now have the right to chit-chat with them all day. So we're going to get started and have you have those conversations. But then the other thing is these people are going to show up all over town. You're going to go to Guero's for dinner next week on South Congress, and the waitress is going to seat someone at the next table, and you're going to look over and go, ah! You're the person I talked to in that networking session. Because once somebody has crossed our vision, they show up everywhere. So are we ready?
We're ready.
All right. So go ahead and find somebody who you haven't met before. and start a conversation. Then we'll switch you and you'll meet some new people.
Like I'm in the process of converting one of my field software into a commercial software.
All right.
So although I'm still in the development phase, and I want to get some idea how I'm going to eventually market the sales product.
But then 5 minutes into it, we let you have a longer time for the bigger group. 5 minutes into it, the energy level came back up to the top level. And when I tried to stop the group, it was harder than the other switches because so many people were engaged. So there is a lot of power once you start a conversation. So remember throughout your day, there's a lot of power in the word hello. Now the question is, who's going to be brave? And there is a prize. Who met someone really cool and you would like to share with us who that person is? So somebody, why don't you share with, yeah, go ahead.
Hi everyone, my name is Kyle. I'm the Google Glass guy.
We hadn't noticed that.
Yeah.
Really? Are you wearing glasses?
I met Tuck here. He is trying to help baby boomers understand the aging process better, understand the strengths, what they can do, what kinds of jobs they can apply for, what kinds of skills they should try and promote or like look after, and how they should kind of help themselves because it can be tougher to find the job.
And what was his name?
Tuck.
What a cool name. Tuck. So, well, thank you. You win a prize. Do you want the ABCs of speaking or the ABCs of networking?
I don't like paper.
Tuck, would you like the ABCs of speaking or the ABCs of networking?
I'll do the ABCs of networking.
There you go. So who else would like to introduce somebody? Who else would like to introduce somebody they met? Yes, Elizabeth.
Apparently he works at the coolest place in the world where they have a rock climbing gym, and they were able to repurpose an old building that would have been on a bankruptcy list to turn it into office space. And I'm just thinking, any place that has a rock climbing gym for their employees, he needs to have a book.
So you're not only introducing him, you want him to have a book.
I would like to have a book. I'd like him to have a prize.
All right,
Yeah.
good way to give out prizes. Who wants to choose?
Where do you work?
Prize?
I do. Raise your hand because you
All right.
Sure, it's me.
Speaking or networking?
Networking. Awesome, thanks.
Oh, wait. So I just pitched. Am I in trouble? Get it? I pitched.
No, it's okay. I scooped.
And what's your company?
The company's name is Builder Homesite. They do technology for the home building industry.
So does somebody else have someone they would like to introduce? You've met cool people. Who met someone cool? Yes.
Yeah, I met Karen today. She's in the process to fix the ugly baby. So I think she deserves to have a book.
Oh, wow.
Thank you so much.
Speaking, networking, or conferences?
Conferences, please.
Oh, wow.
Thank
That.
you.
Good. So somebody else.
I have a different question. Tom asked for you guys to also look for opportunities to pull something out from someone else or to ask them to speak. So anybody that might be able to talk about someone who asked them something really unique or that brought a story out from you that maybe you wouldn't normally share in this type of scenario. Nobody listened to Tom's intro?
It's harder to get them to talk about themselves than to talk about the people they met. Did someone have an interesting story that was like, wow, that was, yes?
Well, I'll introduce, she introduced herself as the female version of my name. I don't think that's your given name, though.
No.
Which is Lynn.
Lynn.
So she introduced herself as Lakshmi because she's been to India since the mid-'80s.
Yeah, I've lived there 5 years.
And is really, she's a yogi and is really into bringing that kind of I don't know, non-Western energy into what she does, and I thought that was a pretty fascinating story, and she's looking for opportunities that she can apply that in her work life.
That's excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Speaking or networking?
I'll take the speaking. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we have time for one more person to share about somebody cool who they met. But don't you find it interesting that when you peel the onion back just a little bit, you find out that someone's a yogi and has lived in India. You find out that someone has a rock climbing wall. You find very interesting things when you get past what's on a business card. Because on a business card we have your name, your title, and your email address. But when you ask questions and find out what makes people tick, we really get interesting stuff. Yes?
I want to introduce this guy right here because we've got the same last name, Ruben Cantu. And he knew exactly that I was from McAllen, Texas, and he asked me if I knew his cousin, and I do.
And you do. You both get a copy of that. There you go. Great. All right, so because you all came and participated in this class or in this session, what has happened is you've now met 4, 5, 6 people who throughout the day you'll be able to see, you'll be able to go back and talk to them. A relationship isn't built, a friendship isn't built because of a 2-minute conversation at a conference. Meeting someone once does not make them part of your network. Meeting someone once makes them what?
A contact.
People say a contact, people say acquaintance. I actually think it's less than that. Meeting someone once makes them someone you have met once. And there is a huge difference between someone you've met once and someone who, over time, you've established a long-term, mutually beneficial relationship. And so as you see people throughout the day, talk to them some more. Get to know a little bit more about them. If you really have that good love connection, say, let's go have, not really a love connection, but, well, maybe. If you really have a good connection, set up coffee and go talk to them. But because you're all here, I'm deputizing all of you as the Product Camp ambassadors. Throughout the rest of the day, if any of you see somebody standing alone, they really don't know what to do, you can tell they wish they were part of the conversation, but they're sitting by themselves, just go up and say hello. Ask them how their day is going. Ask them why they're here. Just talk to people. We should have a no camper left behind policy. Now, with only 28 people in the room, and 300 people here, 400 people here, that's great. 10%, 8% of the room can make a difference in the way the day is for everybody else. So what I want you all to do is kind of group together over by that wall. We're going to take your picture and we're going to tweet it out that you are the ambassadors for the day. Go on, do what I say. Everybody get back on. Elizabeth, you were going to add something?
Yeah, do you have one more book for one other guy who's saving lives?
Oh, okay. We'll give the Saving Lives guy.
Okay.
I have one more up here. Everybody sort of clumped together over here. You got to move in. Squeeze in. You're all the ambassadors. You're all friends now. Squeeze in really tight. Tighter, 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 tighter. If you're on this side, angle this way. If you're on that side, angle that way. And everybody squeeze in. Okay, now hang on, I'm going to move this table because it's going to be a better picture if we don't have this table. It looks like a giant ghost in the middle of the room. All right, now. Doesn't feel lonely at Product Camp. Doesn't feel lonely at Product Camp. Give yourselves a round of applause.